Hello again, welcome to my video. Today we're going to be talking about a special toolbar named Operation. So let's get right into it. We have a lot to cover. So this is our toolbar. Only 5 commands, but I will be talking about the subcommands, which is going to be a lot to cover. So let's get right into it. A corner command. Let's first draw something so you can see its use. Let's say you have a corner and you want it to be a radius. This is the one you use for that. Now, when you press it, you get extra content. Where do you get it? You get it from this one, Sketch Tools. So if you don't see the operations or Sketch Tools, you can find them here under Operation and Sketch Tools. You can also find it on Insert and Operation. Everything is right here, as you can see. So let's put this back here. So at the bottom left corner, it says select the first curve or command point. Let's select this line. Let's select the second one. Select this one. And now we have the option to say what radius we want. Let's say 40. And we got 40. You can see how it went in this direction. That's because my mouse went up there. So let's Control Z and try this again. Press the first one, the second one. Keep our mouse here. Press Tab to select radius. And now let's select 40. And there we go. Notice how we lost these lines. That's where these options come in. The first one says, okay, you want the first element to be trimmed. So let's check out this. Let's say we want this to be trimmed. So let's select this one, then this one, and then the radius. And it's gonna keep this one and trim this one. The next options are to keep both elements, to trim the corners. So let me show this one. You lose these extensions, but you keep these lines. Another option is for it to make them into construction lines. Let's check it out. Here, you can also get the radius here as well. Well, let's do this and turn them into construction lines. They're good for reference. The next, and that's about it actually for this command. The next one is chamfer. So chamfer is pretty similar, and it has all of these other subcommands. And the way you use it is to get a line in an angle under some kind of distance. So let's say we want a line that's 45 going in 45 degrees and the length 40 millimeters. There we go. We got it. And it's also going to give us some constraints. 40 degrees and 40 millimeters. Let me just move it. There we go. Now let's Control Z this. Everything is similar in this scenario, but let me show you this. Notice the first line you pick. If you pick this one, then the second one, and then select the angle to be, let's say, 75 degrees, it's going to make, from the first point that you've chosen, the 75 degrees angle to come off it. And there we go. Let's say we want it from the other side. Let's pick the up horizontal line, then the vertical line. Select 30 degrees. And 30 degrees are here now. There we go. That's about it for chamfer. Next one is trim. Trim has a lot of subcommands, so this is going to take a while, but all of them are useful. And guess which one I use the most? So let's start with the first one. This one. You press a line that you want, a curve or anything. Select the point from which you want it to be trimmed. Let's say we want it from here, and it shortens the line. And we can decide if we want it to be just here touching the line, over extending, or even overextending its point. Let's say we want it here. There you go. Control Z. That's about it. You can also select it to go in the other direction and extend it in the other direction. That's about it. The next one is called break. Let's say this. This is a whole line. Let's say we wanted it to be divided into two parts. This part right here and this part right here. We can use it. We can do that by using the break command. So it requires you to select the element to be broken. Select the element to be broken or common point. This is it. We want this to be broken. Now select the breaking element. The intersecting element is this vertical line. So once we select it, it's going to divide it on the left and the right side. And it did it. We can see by our little constraints. The left one and the right one. And this is still a whole line. We can do this by using dots as well. Let's put a nice happy little dot somewhere here. And now we want to divide this on the right and the left side. Select this. Oops, that's a mistake. Do not select it first. Okay, so select the break, then the line, then the breaking point is this dot. And now we have the right and the left. The left and the right side. Forget my directions for a moment. Let's say we wanted just half of the line. We can do that as well. Just select. Up. And we can select somewhere in the middle here. And it made a dot there. And it's broken into points. That's about it for that. Let's undo the damage. The next one is quick trim. It's so useful that I have a little shortcut for it. Control T. This is something that you can do manually, and I might make a video showing how you make shortcuts in this software. So quick trim. It's used to just trim the extension of this. Let's say we don't want this. We can trim it. There we go. Let's say you want half a circle, but you don't want to use the command arc to make it. You can do it like this. Get a construction line. Do this. It's now we got two halves of a circle. And we can trim one side. There we go. We want a quarter. That can be done as well. A quarter circle is right here. There we go. Let's just remove that. You can double click it to keep on trimming, so you don't have to trim, then select trim. You can do it like this. And escape to unselect it. That's quick trim. An awesome command. Close arc. So this is used only for circles. Let me show you this again. Let's try and make another quarter point of a circle. There we go. So select trim. Trim this so we have the quarter. And now select the close arc. It does what it says on the name. It closes the arc. That's about it. It's pretty simple. Now we have complement. Complement gives you the complement part of the circle. So we have this one, but we would like maybe to have this one. So just press it and we now have this one, and it deletes this part right away for us. If you want it back, just press the command again and press the little circle again. And there we go. That's it for the trim. And let's see if you guessed right which command I love the most. The one that I use the most is quick trim. It's the most versatile out of the bunch. So the next one is mirror and some other subcategories. The first one is mirror. It's pretty simple for the way it works. What you need is to select elements you want to be mirrored, then the reference point or line. I always use a construction line or axis line to use as our reference point. Now, let's say we want this on the other side of this line. We can mirror it by selecting mirror. Select the set of elements to be duplicated by symmetry. Let's take these ones. Now, select the line or axis from which the elements will remain equidistant. There we go. That's it. Let's say we want this down. We can make another. We don't have to make it. We don't have to use an axis line. We can just use a normal line. Select all of this before taking that. Actually, wait. You have to do. Press the control key. Hold the control key on your keyboard. Bottom right key. Bottom left key on your keyboard. Press all the elements you want to be mirrored. Let's say we want these. Then select the mirror command, and it will say use the symmetric. Select the line from which the elements will remain equidistant. And there we go. It's mirrored. Very useful command. So let's go back, back, back. Next one is just symmetry, in which you just want to put something on the other side. It will delete the thing that you're mirroring and putting it to the other side. So let's select this real quick, and this one. And let's select symmetry and select the element you want it to be equidistant to as this one, and it just moved it right to the left side. That's about it for that command. The next one, translate. So let's delete all of this. Delete button on my keyboard. Let's make a square. A little square right here. There we go. And let's also do a little constraint on it. Let's say this has to be 20. It cannot be changed unless we want it to be changed. Okay. So translate. We've made our little square. Now we select our little square, press the translate. Actually, we don't do it. Let's do this first. Let's see what CATIA wants from us. It gave us a little table, and it's saying select geometry to be selected. Let's say we want this. Now it's saying click or select or click the translation point, start point. Let's say this little corner. And you can see we can put this little square wherever we want. We are just copying it and putting it to another position, translating it. We got some little modes here. We got duplicate mode, in which if we turn it off, once we do this, it's going to delete the original one and move it. Let's say we want it, and we want more of it. Let's place this as starting point, and it's gonna make the same amount of copies on the same distance. And we can make a little pattern from this. Select all of them, this, and copy them. Now you got this little pattern. Let's go back. So we got internal and external constraints. Let's see, what are these? Everything here is a constraint, but there's two categories, internal and external. Let's see what are the internal ones. If we copy this, make this active and try to copy it, let's actually make it just one instance. It will give this, which means, let me just select these elements, translate, and now get this internal off and external on, and copy it here. Let's copy it here. You'll see these are the internal constraints, the coincidence with the horizontal line and coincidence with the vertical line, so it keeps being consistent with that. You see, all this isn't consistent with it. This line is not consistent with this vertical line. So that's pretty useful. Maybe you don't want these. Maybe you do. Maybe you want this. Maybe you don't. Maybe you want to mold this so it can go up and down, or maybe you want it be able to go left and right, up and down. That's about it for translate. Next one is rotate. Rotate is pretty simple. Let's make a new one. Let's make a rectangle. Let's delete this and select rotate. Again, it has duplicate mode in which you can duplicate it. Let's say we don't want this duplicated. Select the geometry to be rotated. This one. Select the center point of rotation. We can select here, or the corner, let's select here. Select the point to find a reference line for angle. So this is just the line which we will be moving to make the angle. Let's say now define the angle. We can define it here, or we can just move it with our mouse. Let's say we want 90 degrees. It will move it 90 degrees, and it has been successfully rotated. This is pretty useful for some kind of pattern. Let's make a circle and a smaller circle. And now let's select rotate. Select the element we want rotated. Guess what? Select the middle point in which we want it to be rotated. Now the line of rotation. You see what this is going. If we select duplicate mode and say we want more of them, we can do this. We've made a little pattern. This one is a very powerful command that's going to help you and reduce time usage drawings or projects where there's a lot of things you see are being repeated and you see, oh, I can use the rotate command to make this. I'll do that. That's rotate. As you can see, it has the constraint conservation, the internal and external as well. It's not as special as translate, with the possibility to change if you want to keep or not keep all the constraints. Now, next up, scale. Let's say we want this little thing to be bigger. Let's select the geometry to be scaled, select the center point. Now we can select the value at which it will be scaled up. This would be the regular value, and this would be doubling it up. Let's double up the size. There we go. We got our value doubled up. We should be careful with this. Sometimes it won't work with implicit profiles, and in 3D especially it can be used, and it will not work if there's some problems like intersecting lines and such similar things. Next up is offset. Let me draw a circle. This is going to help us a little bit. Let's say we want a line copied, translated here. We can use offset as well with that. It says, so it shows up here the positioning or the offset distance we want our line to be created. We can also select how many of them we have. Let's say we want to enter that in, and now it's going to copy 2 lines offset. Let's say we just want oops, that makes a glitch because this is connected. You should have deleted it all. Let's say we just want to offset all of this. Offset. Oh, we cannot offset it, you see. You can only offset single elements, while translate is used for multiple elements. Now, this is also something you can use in circles to make smaller circles or bigger circles. Which are coinciding with this circle. Concentric tree. Which means if you move this one, they will be still following that circle. If you delete that and move this, they will stay inside and lose. They won't be actually together anymore. It's interesting how this also moves. Okay, that's offset. We're almost done. Next up is 3D geometry. Project 3D element. This is going to require us to make 3D images. So let's just make a simple rectangle. There you go. Get out of Sketcher, X-Star Workbench. This is called just Workbench, which you can find here as a second command. Let's get it back. Exit it. Look at our beautiful drawing. and use the pad command from the sketch-based features to make it into a 3D element, which will just, like you see, extrude it up. You can also extrude it down. Let's do it up. Decide how long. Everything else is not important for now because I'm not teaching you this. It's just important to know that you can do this like that. And we got our 3D element. Let's say this can also be used as a plane now. And we can go and sketch here. And whatever we draw here is going to be drawn in this axis. Let's get out of here and look carefully. If we rotate, it's drawn not here, it's here. So if we look carefully, this is the sketch we've made. Let's get back into it. Let's say you want this here to be copied. You can select it all and project 3D elements. And now if we deselect it, we see that we got yellow lines. These are projection lines. Now, now the problem with these lines right now is that we cannot move them around. We cannot really do much with them. We're just using them as reference. If we wanted to move them, we would have to right-click them, select the Mark I object, and isolate it. It will give us a glitch, not a glitch, a warning, but it's not a problem. And now we can do whatever we want with them. We can constrain them. We can do some corners. Anything that we want. Oops, we did something right. We've added a constraint for this when we've trimmed this part right here, so it made a little dot to compensate for that problem. We delete that dot, we lost constraint. It just says, why did you do that if you were going to do this? That's what CATIA said. Okay, the next two last features are intersect 3D elements. So let's try and make a little 3D element, a new one. So first things first, let's get out of here. And let's delete this pad. We don't need it. Yes. And deleted the sketch. Let's draw another element. Let's draw a circle now. There we go. Get out. Pad it up. Pad this nice little circle. And now if we decide to take this plane, the YZ plane, if we look at it, this is going to show us a side view of the circle. So let's make a sketch in this plane. Now we see the side view. It looks like a rectangle. And you see how it is being intersected by the plane, the circle. If you select the intersect 3D elements and select the 3D element that you want in, like this circle, it will project that rectangle right there, which you can use for later reference. Pretty useful, right? That's about it for intersect. It's used in many different ways. Play around with it and you'll learn a lot of useful tactics. Now, for the next one, we just delete the sketch, yes. Let's go sketch here and make a little hole. Let's just make this, deselect, use the pocket command. We want the depth to be 20 millimeters. And now again, select the side view. So when you project this with 3D elements with a spherical thing, it will not give you the edges. If you want the edges, you will need to use the project 3D silhouette edges. If we do it, it will give us a little warning that it has some instability, but CATIA will do whatever it needs to do to make this work. Let's say you want this little hole as well projected. It will give you a warning, but it will still do it. It projected the hole. And now you know the exact distance from this place to this place. And you got your reference. That's it for the 3D silhouette edges projection command. And that's it. We've completely done the operations toolbar list, and I've shown you the core basics. Thank you for watching this video. You did a great job getting to the end. Keep grinding, the work shows.